Who here has written tests in Forge Foundry?
I have not.
Same. I have not.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's not a bad thing, guys. So this is actually a very good thing. I think this is an opportunity to show like how we learn the job on the job, you know. So what are we gonna do? We're just gonna read some documentation.
I read a bunch. They have some strange names for things, like when you want to act as like a specific address. They call it like something super memeable. It's not, yeah, memeable. It doesn't look like serious, like our senior engineer would talk about.
I guess we've done this. We can and run tests with force tests. So yeah, let's do that first. Packages, and then let's do on forge test. So this is gonna test the counter, right? Yeah, this is gonna test the counter. Okay, so a few things. Immediately, I'm seeing that it created this whole like out file. So let's ignore that. Okay, and then yeah, let's take a look at the test files. Counter T. This. So Forge comes with these. Forge std. This file cannot be reached. Probably Forge build them. Nothing to compile. There used to be a sub module here. Git modules here. Packages, contracts, lib, Forge std. So why is it not? Is it gonna be like this? Lib.
I mean, to import the functionality of.
Or is it already imported and is it just like VS Code that's kind of freaking out?
Yeah, it can be. This code can be a little bit of.
It's just VS Code, I think, because Forge test is working. Nothing.
Probably because sometimes it can happen.
Yeah, and Solidity tooling is still like old. I mean, sorry, very new is what I meant. So okay, whatever, I can deal with this. So yeah, test increment gas blah, test set number blah. You just write a bunch of assert calls. Cool. Okay, we could probably just pattern match this and start writing, but let's like read on to see any high level stuff. Creating a new project. Cool. We've basically done this part. Yeah, cache seems like something you probably just git ignore. Dependencies. Should we go for it? Should we install Soulmate? Is Soulmate the linting library? Are you guys familiar with it?
I don't have any idea.
Interesting. This is cool. I've already started. I recognize this. Just to see how to install dependencies, I'm gonna do just one. So let's try this. And I want to see how it affects the file system too. Okay. Nice. At least it's placed in the right directory, in the lib directory. So that's a very good sign. Remapping dependencies. We would write import forge STP contract solve. I think we can skip this part for now. Updating, removing, hard hat. We're not doing any of that. Project layout, lib. Okay. We have script as well. Interesting. Okay. We can configure the behavior with the toml. So not libs. Okay, makes sense. Okay, moving on. All right, now we're at the place we want to be, but it's always, a good idea to just quickly go through when, especially you're just super unfamiliar with what's going on. This, you may remember, this is also related to our previous conversation, Sam. Like Sam and I were talking about Nest.js, and I was encouraging him to like read through basically the entire documentation, and they have a monster documentation here, but sometimes you just need to do that. So let's do the same for Foundry. Forge test. One specific test. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, I mean, these are a bunch of like quick sort of command line options. Logs and traces. Oh, this is very interesting. You can see stack traces. So forge test dash v. So is this, yeah, like you see who's calling what and specifically where
It's great.
failing. So that's very cool, actually.
Yes.
Very, very cool.
Also, they have watch mode.
And when you go extreme TDD, that's what you want to have running on your background, showing you red stuff. You're doing something.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you guys do extreme TDD?
Not really.
What's extreme TDD?
I think it's something, I don't know if that exists, but
Turn at this point, but sorry,
What,
guys.
what does TDD stand for?
test driven development. So
okay.
write your test first, and then you write your code to make those tests pass.
Okay.
So you want your test to continuously running, so you know if you're going toward the direction of the test or not.
Okay, gotcha.
So case in point in here, watch mode, I don't know, function decrement public number minus. I'm gonna hit save and see what happens. See, it runs the test immediately again. Okay. So let's go back. Writing tests. Okay, so this is how you start. Let's slowly pull these into our setup. So we have social media.sol. Okay, so social media.t.sol. What's the pragma we're using? Thank you, Copilot, but I'm gonna deactivate this. So contract, social media test is test. Okay. And then you can have test state in here. So uint 256. What do we do here? I guess username 1 equals I don't know. And then oh yeah, you can also do this, huh? You can do this, and then you can do the setup. So function setup public username 1 equals @karam, and then username 2 equals @chin. So I'm trying to map this to like describe it and the sort of setup and teardown of specific tests. But let's keep going. So you prefix your functions with test. Anything that has this prefix is a test, huh? Okay.
Yes.
So function test valid username. And maybe we can turn this into a valid username and then the other one into an invalid username, just to like get us started. And guys, like once we get started, I think we can divide pieces of functionality and business logic among ourselves, and then like start writing the tests in parallel. And that's gonna be like where we're gonna see like all the names and stuff popping around and writing tests. It's gonna be fun, but this part isn't super fun, I admit. But let's just roll with it. It's gonna be done very soon. So search. I'm trying to search and replace, but it's not allowing me. Okay, here finally. Username 1 should become valid username 1, I guess. And then username 2 invalid username. Okay. And then maybe let's do this. And then let's do test the valid username. But we need to learn how to run functions, right?
Yes.
So it seems like Forge requires you to set up the contract that you want to test on. So there's no like magic tooling that automatically gives you contract instance to interact with.
So it's here, huh?
Yes. So we need to get the contract in, allocate it, or whatever, instantiate it, and to play around with it.
That makes sense. So let's do. Okay, at least this one is imported. And then do we have any constructor requirements here? We don't, right? No. Okay, I'm gonna move this to the setup, and then I'm gonna make this social media. Okay. And then one important point here is the like message.sender stuff. In this case, is the test contract message.sender. I mean, if they are not doing any funny stuff, that has to be the case, right?
Then there is one of those method that I was referring to that has strange name with prank. And with prank, you impersonate another address as a sender.
We'll probably get there as we read through.
Yeah, after that's but yeah, by default, it's you can assume that your contract is calling is the message sender of everything.
Okay. Cool. So at this point, I guess, can we do something like this? Test valid username, social media dot claim username, and then valid username. And then what was it? Assert. And then we can test our username, which is like string my username equals social media dot user profiles, address of this dot, and then what was the term? Assert equal valid username is my username. Something like this, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good to know. Do we put storage here or after?
Or the type.
This one is memory, 100%, but oh, actually, we can do storage here because it's coming from the smart contract.
I was checking the modifier. The modifier looks good.
I think there is a typo on setup function. In the documentation, the U letter is uppercase. Maybe can it be the reason? No.
No, you're right. We finally got some problem, like a different problem. Nice job, Nurchin.
Oh, thank
So
you.
we just okay. We're getting closer. So what's happening now? Valid username is Vice32 of Karam. Maybe I can do something like this just to get us started. See how that's working. Numeric. Username is not alphanumeric. How is that? Is valid username? So let's go look at that. I'm gonna comment this out too. Not this part, obviously. So let's go. Okay, making progress, guys. Making progress. So let's see. And then we have another function, valid username. Require, oh no, it's just the, okay. Still so far so good. But here we're saying what was a good way to console log in contracts? There was this other library we could use for console login, right?
The Foundry has its own that you should import it.
Foundry console log.
Forge standard console, so there it is.
But I want to do it inside my my contract. Not the test contract. I want to do it in the source contract.
Yes.
Oh, so I can still do it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So can I do this?
Yes. Yeah, you need to import the contract from Forge standard. It's Forge standard console, so and it's console with the lowercase c.
Okay, so let's try.
Nice. And you'll have to be more specific when you call it. It looks like they have specific function for each type of variable that you want to console out.
Okay, let's go.
Wait,
So
yeah.
source console.sol log
Log
bytes 1, huh?
with capital B.
Perfect. I think what's happening.
Oh, it's a fixed number.
Is
Bytes
exactly.
fixed number. So, oh man,
It's hitting the 0 bytes.
yes.
So just to be extra sure, console.log int was it? Let's do I.
Yeah, capital E again. They like, yeah. It's
Let me check again. Log uint. Okay. Or int. Which one is it?
uint, yes, uint.
Yeah. So, okay, we just actually found an issue with the contract. This is why you test, guys. It's very important because technically, yeah, I mean, you could say that the test is wrong, but is it? Because we actually don't want to allow the 0 character. We don't. Unless it's at the end, maybe. So maybe the first character is allowed to, as long as it's not the first character, it's allowed. I think we should go that route. Like your first character cannot be the sort of null byte, like the 0 byte. But after that, it can be. So you can literally have like a 1 character long username, but that's it. Or do we restructure the username as a bytes 1 array? You know?
Like a bytes 1 array of array. So a bytes 1 array, like 32 bytes 1. I think it's
Or like 10, or like however many characters you have, like and a dynamically sized array of byte 1, or a bytes 2, or like a fixed size bytes 2 string where only the first character is not allowed to be a null string, but everything else is okay.
I've been reading it up. It looks like when you have fixed length string, you want to go the bytes route because it's more efficient at the AVM level. But it comes with the cache that you need to handle the null stuff your own. So if we want to have this dynamically allocated, then a string will be just better than playing around with it.
Okay. Okay, guys, how about this? First of all, we can exit out early, right? We can probably do something like this, where we just revert here when something is wrong. Would this still work? I'm not saying is this gonna fix the problem. I'm saying, is this equivalent to what we just had before, but like exiting early so we don't, compute unnecessarily. That's one thing I had in mind, so we can see immediately where the error begins.
Yeah, I think it's if the question is what's gonna happen, is that I think it's still gonna revert because the condition where the character goes into 0x00 is still gonna
Of
be
course.
catched.
Yes, of course. My
So
point is now we know,
Mhm.
hopefully, like I'm gonna run it once again. Look, 0 is good, 1 failed, done, So I'm gonna pull up the test again. This is my point. So the first character is valid, and then only at the second character do we fail. Basically, I tried to change the failure loop or the like early termination so we can see instantly where the error goes wrong, like for better, easier debugging.
yeah, I think why don't you also log the length of new username? I think that can give us another insight, which might be that it's always 32. So regardless of what you put as a string, it's still gonna scan for all 32 bytes.
Hmm.
I think bytes 32 is defined as a fixed line array of bytes. So length is always gonna be 32 regardless.
Okay.
And
So
the
you're
for
saying,
loop, yeah.
are you saying like claim username should be called with the length of the? No, it should be called with a string, and then get eventually, once validated, get transformed into a byte 32.
We can also do that, or in the validation, you propose earlier to check the first character for not to be 0x00. So in that way, you know for sure that you have at least one character long username. Or we should define a minimum amount of character too. So in the same validation, you can check that it's minimum 3 character, 4 character, or whatever. And then you can allow having 0x throughout the whole string. You can also break the loop as soon as you find 0x00, because you can assume that the string is ended there. But is it? No, because somebody can call the contract putting in like strange looking bytes 32 with a 0 in the middle, right?
Yeah, so I think the right way to do this is we scan from the back. The second we encounter a non-zero character, we switch a latch, and then at that point, if we see anything that is 0, we just revert.
That's also good. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So for uint I equals new username dot length -1, I greater than or equal to 0, I minus minus. Then bool allow 0 equals false. Sorry, true. And then here we're gonna say so this is one condition basically. Or, and I'm gonna make this look a little better. or not allow 0 and char is equal to 0x0, we're gonna reward. Then we need to do the latch switch logic, which is if character is not 0, so the second we encounter our first non-zero character, allow 0 is going to be set to false moving forward. So there is one edge case here, which is a string made up of nothing but 0 characters. That will still pass this test. So we just need to see if the first character is at least, a non-zero character. And I think we can just do that in the beginning. So if new username 0 equals 0x0, then we revert saying that first character can't be the null byte. So at that point, this is impossible. So let's recap. We just changed our validation logic. At this point, we're saying scan back, look at the string. The second you encounter a non-zero byte, switch the latch. And moving forward, if the 0 byte comes up again, it means that someone is doing something fishy and we don't allow it. By the way, quick aside, I think we kind of over-engineered this, like the username. I mean, if they want to put the null, whatever, but I think it was a good exercise to sort of work with the string and byte stuff a little bit. So no time wasted, in my opinion. So, okay, are we ready?
Let's see.
Yes.
What is it?
I'm gonna make like better error messages to help us debug. Can we format this?
I think it doesn't like this.
Nice.
Yeah. Oops. I think I did too much.
Something like this then?
Do we need to add semicolon?
To revert, yes.
Oh, nice. Again, Nurchin for the rescue.
Thank you.
Illegal
Still
character.
Still didn't format, huh? Illegal character, nice. Which one? Oh, I think it still enters the condition, right? because there's nothing stopping the 0x going in this first switch. So we still need the condition on the first if. Otherwise, it's still gonna fail.
But allow 0 is true right now. Oh, I see. So you're saying end, not allow 0.
Yes.
Like this?
Yeah, I think not allow 0 should be enough. Like if you take not allow 0 as a kind of a strict mode, like only characters that are whitelisted can go in, then this needs to apply to every character. Otherwise, when the flip to allow 0 gets turned off,
Can you
can come in and screw you up, I think.
Can you write that like the code, because I'm not sure if I follow.
I think the logic is no, it's good like this. You should only check this because the other then it is or. So any character that is, it should be in the whitelist, and
it should be an end, because you're saying like these are the failure conditions, and all of these things have to be true for failure. So this also has to be true for failure, meaning not only are we not allowed to add 0, but the character is 0. So these two together make up a failure condition. And then when allow 0 is true, then, and the character is basically like when allow 0 is true, this condition is never entered. We don't even look at it. I see. It's the little stuff that takes all the time. Let's run it for a second. I'm gonna delete the counter. Arithmetic underflow.
Oh yeah, because it goes, the uint goes below 0, but then you need to kind of check it. The first chart there.
Oh, this is interesting. Just curious. So, what's the loop?
Never goes in the loop.
What?
It never enters the loop with A because it's username length is 1, -1 is 0, then the condition of the for is not met, so it never enters the for loop.
But at that point, I thought we were looping the entire string because of bytes 32. If that's the case, we don't need to do any of this like 0 string stuff. Oh no, we still do. We still do.
Yes, for the error before, we can either make I int, or we flip back again the direction and go from start to end and mark like no more 0 from after the first 0, no more zeros. Otherwise, it's or no more letter. Otherwise, it's a fail. It's a failed test. But I kind of like the way to go from the back and see more clean.
So for example, what is the length then here? Like bytes 32? there are 32 bytes, but the string length function returns 1, huh?
Maybe. I hope so. I think string has probably some more. How is string defined actually? Oh yeah, it's a dynamic size array, so it always says the right amount of storage allocated to it.
So I think I lost the console log because my tests, I was running them without the standard out. So look, it begins at 31. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So lesson learned. Honestly, guys, I think we should make like a sort of lessons learned, you know, .md or something like learned.md.
Like this, lesson learned.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that into an MD. Bus 32 length is always 32, and I'm gonna remove no matter how you access it and what the characters are. So that's one. So okay. Could we be
So
good?
the only problem with this is that, for example, if social media is only one letter or it has like a tilde in it, it still will flag it as a valid username because it's never checking the first character to be a valid string because the loop goes out at
That's why
E.
we should have it at this guy, no? But then it's underflowing, huh?
Yeah, then you can have a int I instead of a uint
Can we do that?
you should allow it to go below 0, otherwise you don't check the first one.
Okay, nice. And then I'm gonna do log int. Let's try again.
Okay. It's getting like the more you change, the more it's
That's
it's
good.
okay.
That's good. We're learning. So
Yeah,
new
it's fine.
username.
You have to cast it to uint to use it internally then.
Okay, let's do that. So uint 256 index, because at the end of the day, like I is gonna decrease, but the loop is not gonna be entered.
Exactly.
So it's not gonna overflow at the int level, but we're also safe here. So it's gonna be like uint 256 of I, and then I have to do like index. That's it. So let's try again. Yeah, exactly. We need to do that too. Implicit to convertible. We are doing username.length. God damn it, man. Okay.
Can we just
Instead of that, we do 32, right?
31.
31. Exactly. Nice. Honestly, feels good, man. Good.
Yeah, why needs to be this painful to do like little things?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Okay, let's go. So on the right side, we have the code. I'm gonna put on the right side we have the test. On the left side we have the code. So you're saying this is still gonna pass because of this 0 stuff, right? The conditioning here is wrong.
Unfortunately, yes. So it's as usual, an edge case that you can have when doing coding like this. So if you look at the if condition with the tilde, the first one between brackets is gonna be false and then flip true. So the first one is okay. Same goes for the second one. Third one again is gonna be false and turn into true. The last bit of the condition, allow zero, is false at this moment, so it gets
Passed.
turned.
Get it? Because the end condition is getting broken.
Yes, by
Okay,
the
so
char.
this is a sign that we have to simplify the code instead of like stacking all these conditions. So, do you have a suggestion?
Actually, is that true? Like allow zero is not flip yet. So this goes to oh yeah, this goes to false, and
This
another
becomes false, which kicks it
Yeah.
out of this failure
Mm.
condition. So I think one thing we can do is something like this: if car is equal to 0,
flip and break.
and then we're gonna do. So let's say if char is not equal to 0, then here if allow 0, let's do allow 0 equals false. Else
Yeah, we can revert right here and say zero not allowed
yeah,
at this point. So in this case would be when somebody has chunk of a string as zero and then another chunk of a string. They should catch this.
so the character is not
No.
0, and
Then nothing. I think it's okay in here.
yeah, it is okay here. But we can it's gonna come. So but the character, let's say the character is 0. If not allow 0, we will revert 0 not allowed. I'm gonna remove this.
Yes.
But we still have to cover the case where okay, I think I got one actually. This should be the else condition of the character being 0. So like if the character is equal to 0, we enter a special case and then we do this. So we test for 0 stuff in here, and then we test for the non-zero stuff in here. So it's gonna be like if character is 0, and then if not allow 0, then we're gonna revert, and then we're gonna say this is
I think it was okay before. Like you just handle the two conditions separately and you have one chunk of your logic doing one thing, which is just handling the zero stuff.
okay. I'm
and
going back,
the other branch doing this.
but here we still have that issue. Here, let's say we still haven't reverted, and the character is 0. It's gonna fail because these things don't allow for 0. So I think this and 0 they should be like handled in separate blocks. You know.
And you can also continue the loop at that point. When you allow 0, you can when you flip the switch, you can say I ignore everything
Oh yes, perfect. That's the move. That is the move.
just
So
continue.
here the character is 0, and allow 0 is also allowed. So we just continue.
No, when you flip the switch, that's your last operation of the loop. You continue. That's the only case where you want to continue, I think. Because then
because at this point we know that 0 is allowed and the character is 0.
yeah,
So we
and
need to-
yeah, what's gonna happen when you flip the first time on the first character that oh no, it's going to continue. Okay, it's not. Yeah, sounds good.
we can make this slightly easier to read. We can be like, if character is equal to 0, if not allow 0, 0 not allowed, and then continue here. And where do we flip? We flip here. So this is like little, I don't know, less nested additional version of doing it, perhaps.
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, so I'm gonna comment this out. Here we go.
I think there is oh, it's gonna like it regardless or not.
Nice. It's supposed to fail. It's illegal character.
Yep.
Let's do A. Awesome.
X.
A, B, C. Great. And how might we do? Can we do something like this? Bytes 32. My username equals ABC. And then can I do something like this? My username 1 equals 0x0 to overwrite. And then see if it catches that whole like, oh, there is a 0 character in the middle. Because this is going to be like A0C. And I want this one to fail, you know?
Let's see.
Cannot be modified. How might we do that?
That should be. That would be interesting to see how we can manipulate the bytes like this.
Let's ask ChatGPT. I mean, Pilot. So can we do something like this? How do I create a bytes 32 value with an all like it understands the context? This is crazy. Not really.
Nope.
All right, guys, our jobs are safe. Let's try. How do I create? Or this function creates a bytes 32 value. I'm gonna do this function bytes 32 original uint replaced index returns bytes 32.
Would that be happy with a like bit operator with an AND operator? Or would it complain about?
I think that's the move, huh?
I don't know. Maybe so like this. So we want F0. No, we don't want F, we want because F takes 0x takes 16 bits. No?
Dude, look, Copilot suggested exactly what you said.
Or like this. Sounds good.
Let's see console log illegal username first. I'm curious to see this one. Oops. Oh, I forgot.
Right.
I had public in the wrong place. Oh, I guess it's because it's already coming from social media.
Oh, okay. Nice. That's it?
In
Yes.
username. So let's do that too.
It's log bytes 32 again.
Yeah.
Ardat is so much better on this. Just a console
Honestly,
log.
the dev experience so far, I would have to agree. I think.
Is 0xing too much, huh? You never uses original.
Also, the function is wrong, guys.
Yeah.
It should be a string like this, entire like ones,
Mm-hmm.
and then it should be this is like a good sort of annoying interview question. Like, how do you set the specific?
Yeah, it's like it's a hexadecimal, right? Like so 0x, and you want the first, and you have the string. Every character is 8 bits, right?
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops. What the fuck? And then you want the other 8 to be 0 because you want to cancel the second one. 8 and then all ones. So these in X. Am I getting this right or from the wrong side?
We could probably do something like this, but I'm gonna work off of your thing. I'm gonna add it on test valid username, something like this. Second character mask is gonna be equal to 0x. Like start with f.
Yeah,
zero.
FF 00 and then all Fs, I think.
So like this, ff00. Like this.
So this probably takes off too much or not.
I agree. This takes too much. And also, is this even 32?
No, it's too long.
It's too long, right? Because bytes 32 is equal to what? How many bits? Times.
32.
So we need like 16 hexadecimal characters, right? We need 16 hexadecimal characters. So definitely not this many. So let's begin with 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the first ones F is equal to what? 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. No, is it?
Is it only 4 ones?
Yeah,
It's only
exactly. 1 1 1 1, right?
Yep.
And we want it to be like this. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say and 1 0 1 1. So we gotta subtract 4 from F, right?
No, because this is because also the bytes 32 on top, it's formatted like this. So ABC, this string is not like 0x ABC. It's still like some numbers. So it's whatever it's represent. Oops.
I think it's just this, guys. 8. Because
Is it 8? 8 is you got the first 4, but then the last 3, like yeah.
no, 0 1 0, it's not 8. It's not 8. I want 1 0 1 1. So this is 3. This is 8. So it's 11. So it's gonna be like this 0x. No, that's also yeah 11. What is 11 then? 11 in hexadecimal is
It's B.
B.
Yeah, I think, or A or B. Oh, it's B.
A is 10. B is 11.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we could have just used a converter here, but let's take a look. So hex to binary. Yeah, this is what we wanted, right? Just the second bit to be a 0. And then we AND them, basically, to get the final mask.
But we don't want just the a bit to be 0, because a bit is not gonna cover too much of a letter, because a letter is still 8 bits. You
Oh,
want to mask.
you're absolutely right. So
and you want to keep the first one. So the first should be an F. No, it's not an F. It's only the first 4 bits of a byte, the big endian one. So the first 4 on the yeah. What the fuck? Like
we want
it's getting too strange. Like this is like a brain fart after a brain fart. It's
yeah, it's cool though. we gotta learn this stuff and get familiar with it. So we want the first character to be completely selected, but the first question is F. When you do F, it's 4 bits, right? 4 bits. When you say F is 4 bit, like when we're working in hexadecimal, are 4 bits. So
yes.
if you want a character is 8 bits. So a byte 32 will have 32 characters and yeah, 256 bits.
So you want FF00, then all Fs, because you're saying you want to preserve the first 8 bits, which is the 8. Then
Exactly.
you want to remove the second pair of like the second 8 bits, and then everything else goes.
But 32 characters is 64 hexadecimal characters. So we need this to be like super long.
Yeah.
64 of these.
So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16. Then
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
32 bytes.
Yep. And this
Nice.
is the second character mask, basically.
Yes.
It's like a reverse mask. It's the This is a mask that will not select the second character. It's the one that will sort of drop it when you
Yes.
end with this. So bytes32 illegal username is equal to this guy. Yes. So
Hopefully, yes.
let's see.
Yes. You can see the logs. 0x61 0063.
Yeah, but it's not supposed to be passing, right?
Yeah, we haven't called this the function. That's why it passed. Because there's no.
Perfect. God damn it. I was like,
No, it's good. One step at a time. We tested the test first.
exactly. Let's do this guy too, like the legal username and the illegal username. Legal, illegal. Perfect, guys. This is exactly what we wanted, right? The second character is set to something that, yeah, this is the 0. Guys, I mean, this is such a little thing, but I'm actually happy with this. You know, this was like a good exercise. So I think the test is beginning to work. So I'm gonna shut this part down, social media.sol. And I think we can probably, instead of using the state modifier, we can start is valid username. Do you think Forge will allow us to call this directly somehow?
I don't think so. I'm worried it doesn't.
Okay, then we can take this a step further. Social media test helpers dot sol. I'm gonna import it and extend it basically.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I just checked the clock. I'm so late. I need to meet a friend, and I'm like 2 minutes.
Okay, it's all good. It's all good.
Like
Thank you.
that's what happens when you enjoy your time doing these speeds.
That's so
All right.
true. I'll see you around. Take care.
I'll see you later. I'm sure this is going to end well.
Yeah.
It looks like we got it pretty much. Lots of learning. Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you very much, Nursing.
Thank you. You did a lot. See you.
See you later.
Okay. So we're 2 Turks left in the chat, but we have to keep speaking in English to wrap this up.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna import social media dot sol. So let me walk you through what's happening here. In Solidity, are you familiar with modifiers?
No, actually.
So modifiers are little helpers that you can add to your functions. So let's just take a step back. This is the actual function we've been testing, claim username.
Yes.
that social media T, like test valid username. That's the one which
Actually, we tested valid username, I guess.
illegal user. Oh yeah, I guess we changed that in the process. But before, like the function was this social media dot claim username, and then we
Yeah.
were like my username, illegal username, etc. So let's try this illegal username test. Yeah, 0 not allowed is what we wanted to see.
Yes.
So let's take a step back. Claim username is the function we're testing. Claim, this is the function. You see the body is empty, but it has this extra part in here, external. That's something different, but this part is valid username. Is basically saying, take my parameter named new username and pass it to a modifier called is valid username. A modifier is like a macro. It's the block of code that the function will at compile time basically insert in itself. So all of this entire
it's like a helper function, right?
it is, but it's, and that's the use for the most part. But it's a step above, like beyond a helper function. It's something that is not just called like a function, it's actually inserted into the function body. So at compile time, this entire thing will be injected in here, as opposed to like a normal function call. That's the idea. So there are good reasons and bad reasons to use them. But let's stick to using them for now. The thing that's bad about them is that you can't directly test them. Like this you can't call this. You have to have a function that uses this.
Oh,
and
I see.
One of the rules in Solidity and general smart contract engineering is you don't write code with tests in mind. Meaning, like in regular programming, like Web 2 and etc., conventional programming, you absolutely write code with tests in mind. And it's completely okay to add a few extra lines, you know? It's okay to add abstractions and extra lines if it helps with your tests in normal Web 2 sort of conventional programming, but you don't do that in smart contracts because it increases gas costs of deployment or running the code. So you just don't do that. So like in this file, the most straightforward way would be something like function is valid username helper 532 new username, and then this would be like basically calling the modifier exactly like this is valid username helper. And then I would be testing this because now I have a function that can test this logic, but you don't do that in Solidity.
I see.
What you need to do is create another contract, the one that you're not going to deploy. So let's import social media.sol contract social media helper is social media. So now we're extending the social media contract. And now we can do this. And I'm sure there are a lot of better ways to do this, but this is one way we can do this. This is a way for us to test this functionality without modifying the original contract. So we go back to our test, we replace it with this. I'm gonna move this guy.
Also, do we need to deploy this helper contract as well with social media contract?
While testing on our local machine, yes. In production, no. In production, this is the only thing we deploy.
Okay.
Another thing we can do is to take all of this and turn it into a library function that can be imported, which probably is better, but I've been meaning to try this, so let's just roll with it and then we can improve it over time. I'm gonna do this social media test helper, social media test helper.
I think the file name ends with helpers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's make this external. External means this function, like this contract, no other function in it can call it. But another contract can call it, or a user can call it.
Okay.
So now let's do this. Instead of claim username, let's do is valid username. Because this is the modifier's name, is valid username. Okay, social media is valid. Probably gonna fail, but let's see. Social media.sol not found. Again.
External keyword should be before is valid username, right?
No, it should be at the end.
Oh, okay. Because in the contract social media.sol file, we use external before the function name.
Where?
In claim username function.
Let's take a look. No, so you see, like claim username is the function name.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Modifier. Maybe
yeah.
I think they're both okay.
Okay.
But it's good to have a convention. So let's try again. Did you mean public? I'm gonna delete this because we don't need this here anymore. And then social media test output. Key. This is the name. And then here we have to say new social media test helper. Okay, perfect. So let's summarize what just happened here. Previously, as we were testing the naming rules, we were modifying contract state. So let's go back. We were just doing claim username here, and this function is supposed to write into the contract state. And at first, I want to kind of unit test the, valid username functions, like the validity and the validator logic. And I want to do that without polluting the state. So I wanted to test the modifier on its own. But because we don't write Solidity with tests in mind, we created a separate contract that took the modifier because it can read it from the internals of social media, because it is extending the social media contract. And then now we can basically test this logic indirectly without writing to state through our helper contract. That's what we did.
Yes.
So Nurchin, I think a good way to wrap today's session up would be to pair on writing a few tests.
Okay, great.
So I'm gonna write the descriptions of the tests, and then maybe you can type them and like actually write the tests, and then we can pair on them together.
Okay. Yeah.
So, for example, what's okay? Alphanumeric usernames are okay. So let's write like a few of these. A, AB, AB1, AB123, 1, like stuff like this. You can come up with them. Pure numbers are okay. Empty string, not okay. Special characters, not okay. Null characters, unless at the end, not okay. And then just for safety's measure, let's mix and match these, like mix and match null characters, special characters, and then alphanumeric characters. Let's begin with passing cases. So I think we can do something like function. Yeah, I'm gonna take all of this out. I'm gonna comment it here, and then I'll just leave it to you and just try to help you as you write the rest.
Okay, actually, in this cases, we are testing the claim username function, right? So I think we should call the function name test claim username.
So we're not testing the claim username directly. Like in fact, look, we're calling the isValid username helper.
Yeah.
Which does not touch the claim username function. Claim username depends on this function. So I want to unit test this first. Next, we can test the claim username. Like, oh, once I claim a username, is it mine? But without having to think about validity. Like, I want to test the other rule set that comes after validating a username while testing the claim username function. So
Okay.
this is actually just the validation check.
I see. We have already valid username on 14 line, so I can use this variable in these scenarios, right?
I think we can also just like remove these and then directly add it like this, like ABC.
Mm-hmm.
So the important things
Okay.
are like, let's begin with the passing cases, like not the failures, but the passing cases.
Yes.
Good test names. Good test cases. Let's begin like this.
Okay.
So just to test the scene, like test valid username, maybe something like this. Um,
Okay. So can I use conditions? Yeah. If social media if this returns false, I will say you can't use single character name. Is it okay? Can I do that like this?
let's write that first, and then I'll show you something.
Okay. Are we using can we use console error? What should I use for showing the error message?
What's gonna happen is the test harness is going to pick up that it was this particular function that failed. So I think it's good enough to have a good function name without having to write like additional console messages. So I think you can skip that part. So let's take a look at the left-hand side. So I'm gonna tell you two things. One, let's understand the function return types.
Yeah.
And revert logic of solidity. And then let's also understand how to write tests and assertions in general.
Yeah.
So technically, if you want to do something like, I don't know, uint x equals 2 plus 2. Now you want to test if it's 4. You just do, apparently, assert equals x 4. This is how you do it. So this is not really the case in here, because is valid username, as you can see, has no return type. It just reverts. Revert means that the entirety of this transaction on the Ethereum virtual machine is invalid. It's going to roll back. The person who sent this transaction is still going to pay the gas fees, but the end result of their action is not going to be persisted on that mined block. So it's like the difference between returning false or throwing an error. Like when you revert, it's like throwing an error. Like everything at that point is just exploding, you know? But unlike throwing an error in JavaScript or like a server side, let's say JavaScript node, you may have things that happened before you throw it. Maybe you saved something to the database, took it out, and then you're about to do something with it, and then it failed. So in JS and Node, that doesn't affect what just happened prior. It doesn't change the fact that you actually did save something to the database. But in EVM, in Solidity, when you revert, that entire transaction is rolled back. That's the difference. But beyond that, it's just like throwing an error. And because we're throwing an error, just like in JS tests, I'm going to create a new file here. I don't know if you can see it. Just a quick aside. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, like normally we have tests like these in in our day-to-day, unit tests, etc. in JavaScript.
Yes.
So if you have a function here, and then this function throws this function, this test one, is still gonna fail. Because it's not what the harness is expecting to happen. But that is not the only way to fail a test. You can also like have an assertion that's failing,
Yes.
So those are the two ways for a test to fail. And this is literally my first time writing a forge foundry test, but my bet that it functions the same way. Because it just makes a lot more sense to me that way. So I think what's going to happen is when invalid, this is going to throw. When valid, it's not going to throw. So probably we don't need assertions. We just need to write the test, the function in there, call it once, and then if it doesn't fail, it's good. So I think we can just do something like this, and this should be good enough, I think.
Using only helper function is enough?
Yeah, I think this is enough. That's my bet. And look, I'm looking at if you see my screen on my browser, there's another test fail. So I think this is what's gonna happen. Test fail. Invalid username, special character. So I want this to fail. I want this to pass. I think this is going to be fine. So let's just run it, see what happens. Okay. That's good. So this is what I expected to happen. And just so it's easier to read, I'm going to also remove the console logs at this point. Is this it? This is it, right? Nothing more. Okay. So yeah. And, if it wasn't illegal and it was still valid, but we were still doing test fail, this should, yeah.
Yes.
So I think this is like the framework we can work with for now, since there's the internal throwing logic.
Oh my God, I wasn't expecting to be easy like that, because I was thinking writing a conditional statements in my mind.
Yeah. Like when you throw an error internally or revert, I think it comes down to the same thing. And it works the same way here too, like it would work here.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it to you. Maybe we can write like 3 together, and then we can like wrap this up.
Yeah. Actually, it is the same logic, right? Has I'm going to check empty string not okay.
Okay.
Test fail. Invalid username. Empty string public. Actually, it's same. I'm going to copy this and
Okay. So a quick thing, that's not really the empty string, it's the spacebar character, space character. But I think we should
Oh,
do that too.
should I write in bytes?
No. So look, this is the empty string. There's nothing inside.
Oh, yeah,
This
you are right.
is not an empty string. This is a string with the spacebar character. So I think we should write
Yeah.
that too, you know? We should write both of those tests.
Do you think we need to write empty space test too?
I think we should.
Okay. Function.
We can also do this, like we can stack a few of these in the same guy, like because this is, you know, special character, not special. Let's do like invalid username, solo special character, because I want to do like combined special characters and stuff too, you know. And then let's do like A, B, C. You know, let's do the same with numbers. Single number, 1, 2. You know, like we can stack them too, I think.
Yeah, we can use together.
Yeah.